Hydraulic brakes. They work because there is the brake fluid inside of the brake pipes, and that is not much compressible. So the driver is pressing onto the pedal, the brake pedal, and the force is transmitted into a piston when inside something. And that piston then presses into that liquid. And liquid, basically without being compressed, transmits the force directly. Gas not. Gas can be a little bit compressed in, like a wheel of a bike driving over a bump when the air is compressed in. But here not. The liquid is almost completely transmitting the force over. Now the driver presses onto the pedal, the piston presses into the liquid, and the liquid is transmitting the force directly through the brake pipe, through the brake fluid, onto the brake pads, and the liquid presses onto the brake pads, and they are then pressing onto the wheel disc, which is then connected to the wheel, and the wheel stops. That is according to the science encyclopedia written by Susan McKeever on the page 90. Hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn mechanical engineering today, hydraulic brakes, and after we've done that, we're gonna do tiptoe yoga. And if you participate in the tiptoe yoga, then it's really honest. Hydraulic brakes. Car foot brakes work because liquids are not easily compressed. This means that if you apply pressure to a liquid, the force will go right through it. When the driver presses the brake pedal down, the pressure goes through the piston to liquid in the brake pipes. I don't know what piston are, but are these brakes? Is it what people are pressing? Okay, hydraulic brakes. The point is, pressure is applied to the brake pedal is called. And when the piston transmits the pressure from the brake pedal. So the piston is a fixed firm thing, which is then pressed into the whole pedal. So it presses against the pedal, and the piston is pressed in. And then the pressure travels through the brake fluid. And it is liquids of a fluid because they are not easily compressed. And that means that if someone applies pressure to the liquid, the force will go directly through it. This is also why water works, because the pressure is directly forced out. The pressure from a water tower, what we call it, is directly to the people where they live. Okay, the pressure is directly transmitted. Someone presses, the piston presses in, and when pressure travels through the brake liquid, it travels through the liquid to the brake pads are forced against the wheel by liquid pressure. And the liquid then pressures against the wheel disc, against the brake plate, whatever we call it, against the discs of a wheel, against them, and that stops with the whole wheel. I'm going to say it like that. Okay, hydraulic brakes. Car foot brakes work because liquids are not easily compressed. This means that if you apply pressure to a liquid, the force will go right through it. When a driver presses the brake pedal down, the pressure goes through the piston to liquid in the brake pipes. Brake pipes are like, okay. This makes the brake pads grip the wheel disc. So they grips the wheel disc, which in turn makes the wheel stand still. Liquid pressure like this is known as hydraulic pressure. And that is hydraulic pressure. Hydraulic brakes, hydraulic pressure. Hydraulic brakes, we're going to stay with hydraulic brakes, but I'm going to say in the video hydraulic pressure. Gases in use. Unlike solids and liquids, maybe it's also important. Unlike solids and liquids, gases do not have a fixed volume. This means that you can compress them or reduce the volume. Gases are compressible because there's plenty of space between gas particles. When you cycle over a bump, the air in your tire is compressed. So it absorbs the shock of the bump instead of passing it through the bicycle. Okay, that was not that. That was the girl. Okay, hydraulic brakes. It is not easily compressible. The force is directly transmitted, and that is how it works. The piston presses in, and then the liquid is pressing onto the brake pads, onto the brake on a wheel. On the wheel disc of a wheel. Okay, I think we can make a presentation. Let's look who has written this book. The Dorling Kindersley Science Encyclopedia. Who has it written? Dorling Kindersley book. So Dorling Kindersley is not the author. Senior editors Susan McKeever and art director Martin Foote. Editors Caroline Betty Helen Dowling, Linda Martin, Mina Petria Lewis, Richard Jackie Wilson. Art editors managing editor, managing art editor, picture research, production, editorial consultants Heather Cooper and Nigel Henbest. Contributors, a lot of people. Education consultants David Evans, Kimi Hosome, history of science consultant Patricia Farah, natural history consultant Steve Parker. I would say editor, senior editor, and maybe educational consultants. Susan McKeever. Editors. It's written probably by multiple people, so Susan McKeever. Susan McKeever's Science Encyclopedia. The other editors would be, as I just read, a part of Martin Foote, Caroline Beatty, Helen Dowling, Linda Martin, Mina Petria, Lewis, Richard and Jackie Wilson. Okay, Susan McKeever. Okay, I'm going to start the second camera. Hydraulic brakes, they work because there's a liquid inside of it. What is it called? The brake fluid, it's the brake pipe. Brake pipes. Hydraulic brakes, they work because there is the brake fluid inside of the brake pipes, and that is not much compressible. So the driver is pressing onto the pedal, the brake pedal, when the force is transmitted into a piston, when inside something. And that piston then presses into that liquid. And liquid, basically without being compressed, transmits the force directly. Gas not. Gas can be a little bit compressed in, like a wheel of a bike driving over a bump when the air is compressed in. But here not. The liquid is almost completely transmitting the force over. Now the driver presses onto the pedal, the piston presses into the liquid, and the liquid is transmitting the force directly through the brake pipe, through the brake fluid, onto the brake pads, and the liquid presses then onto the brake pads, and they are then pressing onto the wheel disc, which is then connected to the wheel and the wheel stops. That is according to the Science Encyclopedia written by Susan McKeever on the page 90. And there's the camera. And that was the mechanical engineering part. If you were here for mechanical engineering, you can go directly to the next part of mechanical engineering, where we're going to talk about something else. If you stay here and participate in the tiptoe yoga, then it's already honest. The feet are standing together, breathing with the arms up, camera on the tiptoes. And out and down. And up on the tiptoes. Out and down. And No, because I come with the tiptoes. And down. One more time up. And out onto the side. In and up. Out onto the other side. In and up. Up again to the side, make an inch of space between the feet. In and up. Out, sink down, but stand tiptoes. In and up. Out, open to the other side. Heels down. In, up on the tiptoes. Out and down. In and up. And out and down. In and up on the tiptoes. Out, sink down, bis Kängen onto the knees. Okay. All on tiptoes. Out. And up. Out your arms down. One leg to the side. Thumbs. Breathe in. And out, bend your front leg. And come up onto tiptoes with the front leg. Breathe in, reach in front. Out, lean back. Breathe in, straighten the front leg. Out, bend again, down. Back, down. Other side, cross pointing in front. Breathe in. And out, down, and the heel up. Try to come with weight to the big toe. Breathe in, reach in front. Out, lean back. Breathe in, straighten the front leg. And out and down again. Back in the middle. Now the sun god, legs to the sides. Breathe in the arms up. Out and sink down. Out to the toes with one leg. The other one. And breathe in and push something heavy up. And out and down. In and up. Out and down. And out and up. Out and down. To the last time now. Out the arms down, the heels down. If the feet sink together, breathe in, come up on the tiptoes. And out and down, heels down to the ground. Breathe in, bend the right leg. Breathe out and stretch your left leg. Breathe in and change. Out the right one. In middle. Out and down. Open the legs to the sides. Breathe in. Out onto one leg. Breathe in. Out to the other leg. Breathe in. Out into the middle. Never swap feet again. Breathe in. Out, come up with the arms. Hands touch along and down to heart sink. That was the tiptoe yoga. I thank you very much. And until next time.